Hey everyone, so I have been thinking a lot lately about how I got to where I am today, especially financially. It is a bit of a bumpy road, full of lessons learned the hard way. I used to be that guy, fresh out of school, full of dreams, but without a clue when it came to money and investing. My background, it is pretty ordinary. My family, we did not have a lot of money growing up. So when I started earning, I just wanted to make it big and fast. That is where all the problems started for me. I was easily swayed by those promises of high returns. I mean, who would not want to double their money in a month, right? I was always chasing the next big thing, jumping on bandwagons, listening to every rumor I heard, buying into whatever was hot at the moment. It was a cycle of chasing gains, then panic selling when things dropped. I truly believed I could outsmart the market. I fell into so many traps, short-term speculation, thinking I could time the market perfectly. I lost money there, then there were the outright scams, smooth talkers promising the world, and me, naive as I was, just handing over my hard-earned cash. I also had no concept of risk management. I would put all my eggs in one basket, sometimes even more than I had, borrowing to invest. That is called leverage. And it is a dangerous game if you do not know what you are doing. And my emotions, oh boy, they were all over the place. Fear and greed, they dictated every single move I made. I remember one specific time I had saved up a good chunk of money, a few years of working really hard. I put it all into one stock based on some forum chatter. It soared for a bit. I felt like a genius. Then it crashed fast. I lost almost everything. It was a brutal punch to the gut. That was when I truly hit rock bottom with my investments. I lost a lot. Every single penny I had managed to save up, gone. It was not just the money, it was the confidence, the trust in my own judgment. It was a really dark time, honestly. But that massive loss, it was also a wake-up call. It forced me to stop, to really reflect on what I was doing wrong. I realized I was approaching investing all wrong with a gambler-esque mentality, not an investor. So I decided to change. I started from scratch, but this time with knowledge as my foundation. I devoured books, articles, online courses. I learned about proper financial planning, understanding risk, diversification, long-term strategies. I learned about compound interest, the magic of it. I slowly started to rebuild my savings, but this time with a completely different mindset. No more chasing quick riches, no more blindly following others. Now my approach is completely different. I focus on steady growth, low-risk investments, and building a solid financial foundation. I am no longer chasing those wild gains. My goal is to be financially secure, not to be a billionaire overnight, and that is why I share my story. I want to help others, especially those in their 20s who are just starting their financial journeys, avoid the painful mistakes I made. I do not pretend to be some guru or an expert. I am just a regular guy who messed up, learned from it, and wants to share those lessons. My videos are like talking to a friend, just sharing my experiences, the good, the bad, and the really ugly. I keep things simple, no fancy financial jargon, just real talk about real money problems. I laugh at my past self. Honestly, it is therapeutic in a way. I mean, who would have thought I would be teaching others about avoiding investment pitfalls after falling into so many myself? But that is the point, right? My pain can be your gain knowledge-wise. So when I talk about my mistakes, I try to break it down. What did I do? How did I get into that situation? Why was it a mistake? And most importantly, what can you do differently? I am not here to scare anyone or to tell you not to invest. Investing is crucial for building wealth, but it needs to be done smartly, patiently, and with proper understanding. My content covers everything from revisiting those investment blunders I made to common money mistakes young people make, how to spot and avoid investment scams, why a get-rich-quick mentality is dangerous, and how to build a solid, sensible financial plan. I also talk a lot about developing a healthy relationship with money in your 20s, which I think is so important. The one thing you will never see me do is recommend specific stocks or investment products. That is not my lane. I also will not encourage speculation or promise sky-high returns, because that is exactly what got me into trouble in the first place. And I certainly will not be creating any unnecessary anxiety around money. My goal is to empower you with knowledge, not to make you panic. It is about learning from the past so you can build a better financial future. So, let us get into it today. We are talking about something fundamental, something I completely misunderstood in my early days. It is about understanding the real deal with making money, especially if you are starting from zero or even negative, like I was after my big losses. This is not some magic formula. It is a practical approach, focusing on a skill that is truly foundational. If I had to go back and earn a significant income from scratch as quickly as humanly possible, this is exactly what I would do, step by step. I am just going to dive right into it. It would be sales, specifically selling for online businesses. Think marketing agencies, education companies, or at minimum, some type of B2B business. These companies need leads. They need people to set appointments from those leads and then get on phone calls to close them. It is very, very simple in its core function, and they are willing to pay a very high amount to do so. You get a very minimum base salary, but very high commission. That is how I made most of my money, actually, after I learned my lessons from investing. And I genuinely believe it is the best kind of beginner business model, if you will. will if you just want to very quickly stack cash and earn as you go. The reason I am even making this video is because a lot of people just in my comments and in general that I am seeing have high income goals for the coming year. I think seriously, if you are watching this, you obviously want more out of life, or you just have a ton of interest in getting to that six-figure earnings mark. So I am going to show you how to get there step by step, and we will roll in from there. This is obviously a video meant for beginners. If you already have a skill set, focus on marketing that, of course. If you are good at something else, you are going to make more money overall doing that anyway. This is just for people who need money. Like ASAP, you do not have a strong skill set built yet, and that is totally fine, and you want to learn something new. Another high income skill, which is totally fine, or even if you do have a year or two of sales experience, this could still be very, very valuable. I am also going to have a video coming out in the next bit talking about how I would get to a much higher income level with a service business if I had just a bit more sales experience. So that is obviously for more advanced people. Watch out for that coming soon. Subscribe if you like this one. You want to catch up with that. It will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Again, just to give you some backstory, the reason I like sales so much is because it is so agnostic. It is such a deep skill that you can apply into so many verticals of your life. It has obviously made a good chunk of money and will continue to, but it has improved my confidence personally. And in my interactions with everyone, it has built communication skills to where I can keep up a conversation with really anyone from any age or demographic. Seriously, it changes your entire life plus. And this is the big thing. If you ever want to start a business of your own, you are 100% going to need to know how to sell, or your partner or co-founder is going to need to. But why not have it be you? Better yet, it has made me so confident that if you literally took every dollar that I have today and placed me anywhere in the world with a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection, I guarantee that I would make it back everything in 1 to 2 years. That is how good it feels. That is the confidence it gives you. So anyway, let us dive in. Step number 1, you obviously need to understand what sales is and why it is important. It is very simple. It is not what you see in the Wolf of Wall Street style movies or like the Instagram reels. It is not flashy. It is actually quite boring, to be quite frank with you. It is just literally being able to consult with someone, answer their questions, and very truly just discuss why your product or service is right for them. That is it. Now, obviously, I am not going to downplay it, the tonality, holding frame, speaking with conviction, all these types of things. It is all important. That all adds up to the whole picture. Obviously, I am not taking away from that. But for the most part, if your offer or the company you work for is good enough and they have good products or services, you are literally just having a general conversation with someone. If you think about it, at every stage of anyone's life, you have probably sold something, quote unquote. You have sold your parents as to why you should be allowed to go out with your friends at 10 p.m. on a weekday. You have sold a teacher on maybe a certain opinion of yours. You have sold your boss on why you deserve a raise. This is how I view my life. Everything in here is more or less a sale, whether that is with yourself or the world. A big one is the gym. It is like you are selling yourself as to why you need to go to the gym. This is a super important thing. So just be in that mindset because it is extremely important. It is not some like, hard closed car salesman guru kind of stuff. I do not agree with any of that. I do not prey on people. I am not interested in doing any of that. I know people who do. And I think it is disgusting. So just get that out of the way. Step 2. This is arguably the most important. You need to find a company and get your reps in ASAP. You can find these on Upwork by searching for high ticket sales roles or appointment setting roles. I will even link. There are like ones posted every single hour, sometimes a couple per HR. You are going to see what I mean. You can even outreach to personal brands on Instagram. There may be some, I would not say gurus, but some people who have a very deep skill set in certain types of businesses, and they have a program that can teach you that. I know people who teach marriage counseling for Christian couples, as silly as this may sound. I know people who have engineering degrees and they teach other people how to get engineering degrees and they charge them thousands for it. This is the type of business that I am talking about. So a personal product is not bad. It is totally fine short term, but long term, you want to get to working for an established company making minimum 100 to 500 grand a month because they have enough money to pay you, and you are going to be obviously closing deals for a company that is already established. So again, you can read books, you can watch videos, you can listen to podcasts all day, and I actually recommend that. Obviously, I am going to link a few below, but still, by far, I will die on this hill if I have to. The absolute best way you are going to learn to sell is to get reps in of your own. So this could mean cold calls, this could mean role play, this could mean call coaching and listening with someone ahead of you. The best way to do this is to find a company that can ideally train you with their resources. You are going to have to obviously prove to them that you are hungry and are going to make this work because they pay you a very small base, obviously, but also get you calling some of their old stale leads or even just setting appointments for them. That is where I am saying being an appointment setter for at least the first 90 days is going to teach you so much. It is way easier to learn. It is a very low barrier to entry, and you are going to be way less responsible, to be quite frank with you. You are not responsible for closing leads just yet, so you are going to feel less pressure, I guess, in the early stages. Now, obviously, as a setter, you are going to make less, but you will be able to understand the process from A to Z that it takes to get a lead booked and then to get the cash through the door from A to Z. So you are still going to get paid very well doing this. It is just going to teach you the ropes more, which is totally fine. Step number 3, the math, the nice juicy numbers. This is what I looked at every single day in my career, and I still do on a weekly basis. I am not as honed in because it is more general now. And I've got people to do that, but in the early days, you need to know your numbers. And this again is where the actual company and the offer that you sell is super important. You cannot do much if the business you work for only has a product with a couple $100 or even $1,000. Like, that is a great one. Person business. You need to find a company selling a product or service for minimum $2,000 and up to $10,000. I would say the sweet spot is $4,000 to $10,000. That is just ideal, but that is the absolute perfect number. But it does not mean you cannot make a little bit less than that work. Obviously, again, the higher the better because you are on a commission basis. So the more higher priced product they have got, the more you are going to make naturally. So that is just, keep that in the back of your mind. And I would say a good number is they need to be getting at least 20 to 30 leads or opt-ins per Dalton Y. So these are people who are opting in, showing interest. Filling out a form, sending an email, some type of interest within your product or service that you can then take and call them, email them, direct message them to set an appointment that way. So I am going to give you 4 scenarios, 2 as a setter, 2 as an appointment setter, and 2 as a closer. And there's going to be 1 conservative and 1 more like high end. So follow me. I might even put this in the description just so you have got it. For the appointment setter role, this is the conservative number. 5% commission on a $2,000 offer is $100. So that is $100 to you per appointment set. You only need 3 to 4 of those per Dalton Y to hit 10 grand a month. Now, obviously that is assuming a 30-day work week. I am not forcing you or asking you to work 30 days. People do it, especially in the first few months, just so they can get their learning curve shortened as much as possible, but do it as you will. So 3 to 4 of those per Dalton Y. This is the ideal scenario, 5% commission on a $5,000 set. That is $250 per appointment that you set. That means you only need 2 per Dalton Y. That is $500 per Dalton Y2 to be making 10 grand a month. And again, with the setters, you do not need to close any deals. You are literally just setting appointments through the phone calls, emails, and DMs. Very simple for the closing role. Obviously, we will talk about the responsibility in a second, but here again is the conservative and the ideal scenario. So the conservative is 10% commission on a $2,000 offer. That is $200 per close. Literally 2 of those $400 per Dalton Y to you. And that is the conservative ratio. That is a very easy number to hit. This is the ideal scenario, in my opinion, is 10% commission on a $5,000 offer. Very simple math. $500, literally 1 close per Dalton Y. And the nice thing about closing, obviously, is yes, it is a much different beast. It is much more difficult, but the meetings are already on your calendar because people within the company have booked them for you. Once you graduate out of the appointment setting role and into a closer, things do become much easier. Meetings are on your calendar, but again, your bar is raised. So just keep that in mind. So in summary, 1, learn everything you possibly can about sales with someone or a company helping you. 2, get your reps in, get hitting the phones, sparking conversations so you can make mistakes but understand how the process works. And then 3, do your math every single day. Jot it down on a pen and paper. It is extremely motivating. And again, this is how I built the majority of my wealth within the first company I worked for. I literally made hundreds of thousands of calls personally. The amount of people that I spoke to, I obviously spoke differently to a 20-year-old young couple looking to buy or sell a house than I would a 90-year-old senior.